You heard the buzz of Soul's phone. You know it's time for REV Book Club. What's up, guys? I'm Josh, alongside the lovely Soul. We're back. Sorry about the Poppy Wars, but the World Cup was going on, and we had to have that experience. So I went to a couple of games. I watched, but yeah, but we're able to get now we're doing the Raven Scholar and remind the folks again, show the nice, lovely book. Yes, and it's a thick one. It's a thick one.
Big boy.
It's a big boy. First of the series.
Trilogy.
Yes, it is a trilogy, and this just came out this year, correct? So, or like it's been relatively new. Like year and a half, something like that.
Let's look. 2025.
Yeah, so I figured it was like it's out right around a year. Right around a year, because I mean it took over the book talks and all that jazz, or whatever you want to, whatever those little communities are. So we did it. We covered it. Now, obviously, this
we didn't cover it yet. We read it.
We read it. Now, I will say, disclaimer on this one, as far as my experience was a little bit different. Obviously, you know, I am the audiobook guy when it comes to this. The audiobook and Spotify didn't. So the way it works with premium is you only have a certain amount of hours, and then it cuts you off, and then you have to wait like another month before you can, for it gives you another some amount of hours. This book, audio wise, is 24 hours long. So I was not going to get through this. So I did deep dives. I spoiled the crap out of it, and then Soul was taking notes, so I was able to kind of fill in the gaps a little bit. So I am going to ask a lot more questions than more thoughts on here, but I will say this is the best lore book that we have covered here on this show. So I will say that. You think it's your tip. Now, I will say, though, if you're not into fantasy, this shouldn't be your intro into fantasy, because you're going to be like Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny with all the red strings and shit with the lore. It's not, to me, the craziest lore of all time is Kingdom Hearts. It's not that. I'd say it's like a 5, maybe.
I would say it's kind of Game of Thronesy-ish.
Yeah.
Like in lore, not specifically in like the story, but in the lore.
It's very like Avatar, The Last Airbender, with like the tribes meets Game of Thrones with all the families and royalty and all that, and like all those things. It's a very mixed, like a hodgepodge.
It has a lot of the tropes of fantasy, but it doesn't. I don't know how to say this. But like, it doesn't follow the fantasy tropes to a T. Kind of like it turns them on its head a little bit. You have a lot of twists and turns. You have a lot of where, if you are a fantasy reader and you know the fantasy tropes, a lot of times you can predict things in books. And I would say that for the most part, you don't really predict what goes on in the book, that you're kind of discovering it along with the main characters. Now there's a few things that I caught on to that I was like, oh, this person has something to do with here, but you don't 100% predict it the way that you might like with some of like an older fantasy or other types of fantasy books that are more formulaic.
I do like obviously the book is over 600 pages. It's a thick dude. But that means that everything should make sense, and it shouldn't be a bunch of fodder. And I don't think it was. That's all that really took the time to make sure we understood the world that we were in. Obviously, left some things here and there, especially with the dragons. I felt like there was it kind of told how they worked, but then again, it also left a mystery towards of we really don't know exactly how they were, except for Eucelia's situation.
It left stuff for like book 2 and 3, kind of.
Yeah, like the most that we really got was Eucelia's situation, with her being ostracized to the Dragon Island world, whatever you want to continent. I don't know what they actually said, but
because one thing that I love in fantasy books is maps.
Yes, it does have maps. I did see that.
It has a map And it's basically Helia's the island on the bottom there.
Okay.
And then you have the Imperial Island is right here. And then you have another map that shows you the map of the island.
Yeah.
So there was several times when I'm reading through the book where like they would mention like Bina is from West Haven. And so I'd be like, oh, where's that on the map? And it's down here in the bottom corner, or where they said they're from Scartown, or they mention other things. Like some cities get mentioned, and so like I would go to the map because that's something that I like to do. I like to know where we're oriented.
Yes. It doesn't matter how old we get, we still like pictures in our books. So, but on that, but yeah, I guess I'll flip it to you as far as what was. I know you already told me off before we went live, but you really enjoyed this book.
Yeah, so keeping it non-spoiler right now, we will go to the spoiler section in a little bit. I love this book. I really, really liked the way it was written. Like the prose is really good. The characters, it's always weird to say like when you like or dislike a character, because I'm like talking about them like as people, and then like all the characters are written well. So like I like the way all the characters were written, and where you have like characters that are bad or evil, but they're written so well, and they're the like I love to hate type of characters. And then you have like I love Kane. Like Nima's my girl, but I love Kane. And so he's my chaotic bisexual, and I love him for it.
Yeah, he's the. So I don't know why, but I got like someone pointed out to me of like the shows that I watch and the characters are like that. Like I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine because of Peralta. I like Psych because of Sean's character. I like Scrubs because of JD. And people are like, "Huh? So you just like man-childs?" I was like, "Yeah," and that's pretty much Kane. He's just sitting there, but when he steps up and needs to focus, he focuses. But man, does he come with the witty banter and sarcasm and just rolls with the punches and just like kind of like lives his life like nothing serious, even though it is. And those characters grab me, and I always like those types. So
I really like the lore. I really like the twists and turns. I think everything in this book made sense. It, as we said, that it is a thick boy. It's over 600 pages, but I feel like this book has earned every page, because sometimes you can have books that are really long, and you're just like, this book could have been 100 pages shorter. This book could have been 200 pages shorter. I feel like this book earned all its pages, and every time you had something small in the beginning or in a chapter, like it was brought back and actually was much bigger later on. So all these like little tidbits. And so it's one of those books that you have to really be paying attention and focusing on. I think if you don't have your brain fully on the book, that you might miss some things. So this is kind of like when they say like there's certain television shows that you shouldn't be on your phone while you watch them. Like you're not really on your phone when you read, but you can have a distracted brain. This is one of those books that you can't be having a distracted brain while reading.
Yeah. So this, to me, it's not like you were saying, like this is your Blood Over Brighthaven. Yeah, put the counter up. Whoever the drinking game was, we mentioned it. Go ahead, take a drink.
I mean, I got a cane soda here.
Yeah, so cheers, everybody. We mentioned Blood Over Brighthaven. I don't care that she can. That book's amazing. But this wasn't up to that, and it's because the characters shouldn't have been 35. They should have been 22. They were written very like YA. The way they interacted and talked to each other came across that way instead of being like a 35-year-old. Now, again,
Josh, how old are you?
Again, full disclosure, I'm 39.
Okay, and how old am I?
Younger than me.
32, right?
Right.
So these characters talked the way our compatriots talk to me. So it felt very much like, oh, these people are in their 30s. Yeah, this is how people in their 30s, especially millennials,
Right.
are
I
around
get
each
it,
other.
but like every time I was reading,
It was definitely not YA.
no, it was not YA. There was the stakes were very Game of Thrones-ish. Like it's very Game of Thrones. Like you had people banished, stitching things on. Yeah, Yana. We'll get into that. So yeah, the stakes were a whole lot deeper. It's a lot darker. It's a lot more graphic than a YA novel. Like it's not YA. It's just on how the characters interacted. Came across like they were read like they were 22. I know how we act, but the way it was read and how characters are typically when they're saying, oh, they're 30, they're 32, like they like they didn't come across like that. And then there were some other reviews that I saw that had that same thought. And it's more of and just how it's read. I know how we act. Like I was on board with it, but they just came across of you reading a YA novel. That's how those characters act.
Yeah, I would agree to disagree. They never came off as like kids in their 20s to me. That they came off their age. Now, the only one who came off like a little petty was Katzen, who's supposed to be in her 40s, and she came off really, really petty, but you could kind of understand because of her grief that like she came off acting a little below her age. But I guess being someone who's in their 30s and being around people who are also in their 30s, I was like, this is how people in their 30s act. So I never felt that they came off young to me. The only one who did was maybe Bina, because she had like she's that happy-go-lucky, like everything's great kind of personality that you get from someone who's young.
I also saw where someone said Kane was a one note, and I'm like, nah. I think that might not be your humor. That's okay.
Yeah.
That might not be the type of character that has that type of character is, yeah, you put a character like that in a book, I'm gonna like it. I just will. I eat that type of character up. Their interaction between and Nemo's and Kane's is so Ross and Rachel in a fantasy world, in a sense of they always gravitated to each other, and then they told each other to F off. Then they gravitated back to each other, and they told each other to F off. And
Ross and Rachel, funny enough, Ross and Rachel is way more toxic than Nema and Kane.
Oh yeah, I know. I was getting ready. I was getting like, when my question was like, from a scale of 1 to Sid and Nancy, like how toxic is their relationship?
Yeah, but do we want to get into spoilers?
Yeah, let's get into spoilers. But again, this still was a solid book. Those, like I said, that's very nitpicky and just how it's presented to me. That's why I wasn't like Blood Over Brighthaven level to me, because I think that's just a perfect book.
Hey, well, for those who joined the Discord, you'll know that we have several months now of books picked out, and Emma Wong's other book, Sword of Kaigen, is going to be read in the book club.
Let's hope the second album's just as good as the first, because a lot of times that first album is all they got.
Well, technically, Blood Over Brighthaven is the second album because she wrote Sword of Kaigen first.
First album for me.
But anyways, so I tried to break this down into plot points because there's a lot of stuff going on, and this book is one of those where everything is not as it seems type of. You have to really think, who is the narrator? Who is the one that's telling you the story? Is this story true? And you find out through the book, like certain what would be considered universal truths in this world aren't actually true. For example, the Andrin and what happened in that throne room.
Yeah.
But one of the first, this book starts off and you think, oh, this is a come of age story. This is about Yana. This is nope, it's not.
Like Drew Barrymore and Scream, guys. Just spoiler alert.
And you get kind of a little bit. So the Velit's backstory and what part one is, and how you start off with Yana and Yasila and Ruko and their little sister Nishtala, and and like we know that they are the wife and children of the uh what we believe, but we find out not to be the case, the usurper who never actually got the throne is the story we're told.
Right.
So thoughts on kind of the beginning, the backstory of the Velits, and then Ruko's decision that he makes on that throne to exile his sister.
I guess knowing the twist and who was actually the king at the time is kind of crazy if you think about it. Because he's like, all right, you're my two kids, but I want to still stay in power, so I'm still gonna do this thing.
I'm gonna allow the kid that I like least, because you know that both Yasila and Andrin, they're twins, but you know that Yana is the favorite of the twins.
Yes.
And what's these parents are terrible, and they're terrible to their children. You can kind of understand why Ruko ends up the way that he is. That the only one who really ever stood up for him or showed him any love was his twin sister.
That's the thing.
And like, so
what did she do to you other than being liked by your parents more?
But his dreams and ambitions kind of took over, and we're in the spoiler part here. His father, who is pretending to be Emperor Bursun, basically has his least favorite child choose to exile his favorite child, which exile means death in this world. Exile is not just like, oh, we're going to exile them and they can never come back to the country. Exile is, we're going to have you parade through the country.
Oh, this is Game of Thrones shame with Cersei.
Shame, shame, shame. We're going to have you parade through the country saying what your crimes are, and everyone's going to yell at you and throw shit at you, and then you have to walk into the poison forest. Well, everyone who walks into the poison forest dies at the end. And so an exile is a death sentence. And then after that happens, by law, no one is supposed to ever mention you again. You are no longer in existence, and no one can mourn you.
Except for the dragons can mention it because they don't follow the law. Right?
Yeah, the dragons have because they live on that island, that they have a treaty with with Orin to basically like, you leave us alone and we won't do shit to you guys. Yeah. It's kind of like, we govern ourselves and we will stay on our island and not bother anyone, because they have powers that no one else has.
Yeah. We have turn limits. Except not necessarily. Anyway,
but your thoughts on the beginning of the story?
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, it grabs you because you're just like, all right, cool, yeah, Yana, you got Ruko, okay, nice to have, but oh my god. By the way, here's your actual main protagonist, is Nima, and she was the one that signed the death sentence.
Yeah,
that was supposed to be stitched through Yana's body. So there you go. That actually never was. And then she was ostracized for it. But yeah, that's just, they were like, all right, nope, we're not going to pull any punches. This is the world they live in. And the fact that you're just like, all right, I hate Ruko so much for being such a jealous kid. But he was 16 at the time. Technically, right?
And we get his, he is 16, because in this world you become adults at 16, and we do get his POV right after he makes the decision, and he tries to explain it away, kind of like, oh, her going to the House of Mist and Shadow, like, to die is better than going there. But then you kind of hear what the exile, and at first you don't know what the exile intakes,
Mm-mm.
but then you hear what it intakes, and you're just like, actually, Ruko, I think going to the houses Shadow and Mist might have been better than
It might have been
this.
better. Might have been better.
But you were speaking of Nima, so then that part one and part two, there's an 8 years difference there, and we get Nima there, and Nima is a junior archivist. She lives in the worst part of the Raven Palace, and on the island. But she's on the island. She's part of the court, even though she's on the lower level, and she apparently has the best calligraphy of any of the Ravens. So you have Vabras, or Vabra, I don't know how to really say his name. Vabras.
I didn't get that far in the audiobook for someone to pronounce it for me, so we'll go with whatever we talk about. You know what we're talking
about. But he comes to Nima to write the order because Emperor Bursun doesn't have his fingers anymore, so he can't write anymore.
Yeah, because he lost them in the battle.
Yeah. And so, and Kane is in the apartment, and you kind of you think that it's just her and Vabras, and then actually Kane's there and he's in the background, and no one's noticing him, but and they get into this huge argument because Kane is like, Yana is innocent, you're signing her death warrant. And he's like, once you cross a line, you can never uncross it. And she's like, well, someone's going to write this order anyways, so might as well be me, because it's gonna bring her up in station, because she basically has been stuck where she's at. And Kane goes, hey, run away with me.
Right.
Let's not do this. Do not become a terrible person by doing this. And she decides not to run away with him. And then you kind of get their relationship throughout he's the Fox contender in the festival. So you get 8 years later, them coming back. He's kind of pretending to hate her, even though he doesn't hate her. These two people really love each other. You get them coming back together because they have to, which we'll get to the next plot point, but they have to work together for Gaida's murder case. Mm-hmm. So thoughts on Nima and Kane, their relationship throughout the book, and kind of just their love for one another.
Do you think they focus too much on their relationship, or does it add to the book rather than take away from what the overarching thing that they were trying to do?
I think that it works in the book. I don't think they added too much in it.
It was it just was right there. It didn't never crossed it to where it felt more of a like that vampire romance book that we read that I can't remember.
Vampires of El Norte. Did we read that? No, Hacienda.
So, and I felt like that was more of
that was a romance book pretending to be a horror book.
Right. So, yeah. And I was just like, all right. And when they were doing that, and then throughout the book, their relationship I was into, but then I felt sometimes where their whole back and forth, just toxic, somewhere they get kind of the toxic relationship thing. I think sometimes it overshadowed just a little bit, but it didn't take over to where it removed the experience from what the book was supposed to be. But that's why I asked you that question.
For me, it didn't at all. I think it added to the story, and it gave a reason for there to be some tension between Kane and Nima, and to because let's say if their relationship's not there, you really don't have a reason for the two of them to really be doing anything together.
Right.
And them working together throughout this book is a feature of the book and brings the plot along. Because otherwise, they're just two random people, kind of. Right. So, and not that two random people can't come together and then work through things, but it felt... It didn't feel like it hindered any part of the book at all, to me.
Right. But that's just another complaint of the reviews that I saw where they said it felt the romance not it felt like more of a romance novel, and I know that's not what the whole point of the book was. It's mostly
Yeah.
twists and turns, Game of Thronesian.
I would say out of the 600 pages of this book, you probably get less than 50 to the romance.
Right.
So that's a small portion of the book.
Right. But no, I told you just like Kane is awesome. Just his quick wit, and all that, and I enjoy that type of back and forth relationship anyway, because at the end of the day, unfortunately, that's all Nima has is Kane. At the end of the day, I mean, I know she met some people along the way, but Kane is always going to be a ride or die.
And kind of in a way, Nima's the only one that Kane has.
Yeah, he has a bunch of acquaintances, but he only has one friend.
Yeah.
And why did he? And maybe I just did because we're on their relationship, right? So why did he wait to tell her that he never actually killed anyone?
I think that's a lot of what he does or says is very much part of the fox nature of himself, where they're not always going to be completely honest. They're not lying, but they're not going to be. They're a little eccentric. They're a little weird. They're a little Alice in Wonderland type, and so that's kind of like the. Actually, that's a perfect analogy. Alice in Wonderland is very fox. It's very, very fox. It's very like you're going to hear a riddle that might mean something. It might mean nothing at all, kind of. And so I think for him, and she even says later, like, I should have trusted you with this knowledge, but he didn't trust her with the knowledge. And I think the fact that he would have had to tell her that they send people to the Scarred Land instead of assassinating them, that is like a state secret. So that's kind of like Kane is in the FBI and he's not allowed to tell his wife the state secrets of what's going on in the FBI. But
it's so weird. Kind of I just now realized I'm like, is this freaking Judy Hopps in Zootopia? It's like Kane voiced by Jason Bateman. Like, what are we doing here?
Because like basically he's an assassin, but not an assassin. Basically, the Emperor sends him off to go assassinate someone, but he doesn't assassinate them. He takes them to again, let's go to the map here.
Right.
The Scarred Land, which is up here.
And
we don't know why it's the Scarred Land. We just make the assumption that like it's unlivable because of the way through context clues, which maybe we'll get more of that in book 2 and 3, but that they send them to the Scarred Land, and if they try to come back to Orin, then they do actually murder them. So it is one of those things of those are state secrets that she's not privy to, so he decides not to tell her, and then that's why later he's like, I should have trusted you because Nima wouldn't have ever betrayed his trust there.
Right. Yeah, but I always just was curious about that because we were like so far into the book, and I was like, you could have easily told her that because she would always do that. She'd be poking at him like, you kill people for a living, you kill people for a living, and then he finally was like, actually, I don't do that. I'm like, yeah, we could have solved this 300 pages ago.
Yeah, this is one of where like the secret was more important than his the way that Nima viewed him. Which that sucked for him there. What was funny too, going to that's right after they went at least 3 rounds in that barn. Both in their 30s.
Yeah. Hey man. There's stamina in the Raven's collar.
And the fox.
Yeah, the fox, man. Yeah, they're not rabbits, but pretty close.
And I love too, I think that they made a joke to the fighting because each of the fights are 3 rounds, and so they're like, They're like, oh, the second round, and they made the joke, oh, the weapon round. and then it was like, and then we agreed that the third round both of us died.
Right. Yeah, that was hilarious. Also, it was very Foxy, and I didn't get mad about that, is when he took Pink and just dicked around with her about it. He goes, oh yeah, by the way, yeah, I've got Pink. Don't worry about it. And she was like, someone took Pink. He was like, really? Why would take Pink? She said, you didn't do it. He was like, no. Yeah, I took Pink. It's like, why'd you do it? Like, I don't know.
He's a sneaky guy. He's a sneaky guy.
Yeah, he's a fox. But
mm-hmm.
But yeah, no,
he would be in real life. He'd be one of those friends that you enjoy and who has a really good heart, and he's a good person to his core. But it'd be like, oh, this little shit. Like he'd be annoying as a friend.
He's that person that you love having around. He makes everyone laugh. You always want him to be around everything, but you're just like, he's plotting something. I know he is. And you think he's always doing a bit.
And like there is like the stereotype of the chaotic bisexual, and he fits that stereotype to a T. He is chaotic.
Take your word for it. Yeah, but yeah. So their relationship, I enjoyed the back and forth relationship throughout this, and the fact that it was a good point that she's also the only really true person that he has. That's why he wanted her to go away with him before she.
Right. And I think in my mind, I was like, what if she went away with him? He probably still would have been the Fox contender. And so then she probably would have still been there in the story just as his boo thing.
Yeah. Well, on the boo thing. But to me, a couple of times I wanted to, like, the subtitle of this book would have been The Quest for More Power, because it felt like everybody's motive was somehow or another conniving to get more power. With her, she didn't want to give up her chance to get more power and climb up the ranks, so she's going to sign someone's death warrant. We'll get into Havoc, but it just felt like everyone was just Ruko. He was questing for more power. He was power hungry. His dad, Ysilla, they all require. Ysilla's very Cersei to me.
Yeah,
she's very Cersei. Like, you don't fuck with her, and she will do whatever she needs to do to make sure she gets what she wants, even though she.
Although low-key, you could also say that she's Daenerys.
Yeah, no. It's not. She's not 100% Cersei.
Yeah,
but she's got a lot of.
She's definitely Daenerys. The last season of Game of Thrones, Daenerys.
Yeah, because she was like, "You motherfuckers have been pushing me down," and I mean, especially with like Visitor Pike, and he was like, "I love you." She's like, "Too late."
It was like, if you would have came in here and not threatened my children, I would have accepted you as a lover. But because you came in here and threatened my children, I never want to fucking see you again.
Yeah, she was just very. But granted, she had a rough childhood. Okay.
Yeah. Now the next plot point I have pretty much the reason for the season, the festival. So we learned that the emperor is not exactly a monarchy in this world. It's kind of a little bit of a monarchy, kind of a little bit not, because it's not democracy because people aren't voting.
The justice system is very weird in this world.
Yeah, but basically how it goes is it 24 or 28? I'm not forgetting.
I was like 27. Oh,
it's 20 something amount of years. Is basically you have a festival, people compete to be the next emperor or empress. Whoever wins the festival becomes the emperor or empress. Let's say 24. They can only be emperor or empress for 24 years, and at the end of their term, another festival happens, and you have contenders from each of the 8, which that's the gods in this world, is there's 8 different gods, and each of them has a representative, except for the dragons, they do not want to compete for the throne. They just want to be left alone on their island. So they don't compete for the throne, but they do have a dragon proxy, so that way there's an even amount of people during the fighting rounds of the tournament. So basically, each of the, I want to say houses, but it's not houses. Each of the the fox, the ox, they each have a trial that people compete in, and then they have the fights that they have. So
very Chinese New Year.
Very Chinese New Year type of thing. And so right now, Emperor Bursun is coming to the end of his reign, and they're trying to find a new ruler for a run. And so they're having the festival. So thoughts on the lore of how this country works and how they get new rulers, and because then the emperor then kind of rules with impunity like a monarch for the 24 years that they are in power. And thoughts on like the festival and how they choose their leader and all of that.
It's very Harry Potter. Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? When it's a trial thing, I mean, that's immediately where you go to, because I guess in our world, this isn't the first. Like Harry Potter wasn't the first time they had some trial like that in fantasy world. It's just the most popular, well known. So that's why I'm bringing up the Goblet of Fire as far as this. I did really like when you showed a little bit of, I don't know, empathy or whatever it was, like the kind heart that Nima had when she realized, I forget who it was, that was like didn't want to do it because their uncle died and it was through their path, and she solved it.
Shalworthy,
yeah, and she was just like, hey, you technically haven't dropped out yet. Here's how to do it.
Yeah,
and then she, and then she went. Like I thought that was cool, and then. And then the next time she accidentally hit that person way too hard, and that person just went ham on her.
Yeah. And to go to that point too, is just like in this book where not everything as it seems, the trials in this book are not what they seem. So like that Fox trial is the first trial, and they're told that they have to go through the imperial tombs, and that's not the actual trial. If you actually listen to the words and decode it, which the Ravens are very good at puzzles, they're like, actually, the trial is we have to be kind to one another.
Right, because at the end they were like, so we did it right. I was like, well, we're giving this many points to Neiman. They're like, why? She said, because she helped him out, and when you heard her get in trouble, you said F her and kept running. And that's not what the point of it was. That was the bear girl, right?
Katzen.
Yeah, it was Katzen. Yeah. Sorry, I keep calling her a girl. She's 40 years old, but
yeah, she's the oldest of the.
and I know you were saying with Katzen and the trials and everything. I mean, she was definitely like the bear tribe religion. I don't know what you want to call it. We'll just call them tribes for right now.
I would never choose them. I would never.
But they are very the jocks. Dothrakian, they're just barbaric. Like they're your. I don't know. It just
I wouldn't say barbaric. They're very disciplined.
Spartan.
So like basically, they are. When we get to their trial, they basically do what anyone who goes to the bear monastery like, and is I forget what the name of it, but like when you first get to the monastery to try to prove your worth and prove to stay in the monasteries, like they have to jump into a cold ice bath in the morning, and then they have their breakfast, and they eat really clean, like they have a diet, they don't drink alcohol, they don't do, and then they get interrogated for several hours, and then they have to do physical like endurance test for several hours, and then they pray. So like they're very much like a
Navy SEAL.
Very regimented Navy SEAL. Yeah, kind of. That's they're the warriors. They're
they're the
the
Spartans, or because
yeah,
even
they're
in 300, the Spartans had to go through trials to become a whatever.
yeah. It's very
Yeah,
so
very like by the book, very disciplined, boot camp type of life,
yeah, yeah.
and that
Where
ain't me.
the opposite of the foxes.
Yes, but the reason I call them barbarian because I kind of looked at it too because we're in a fantasy world, so I immediately go to a type of like D&D type of class, or I'm playing Diablo 4 right now, so I was kind of looking at that. Like Fox comes off as a rogue based character, very cunning, slick, kind of a rogue of like a thief type of character. The ox are like a druid, all right, and the bear came off as very like the barbarian style class of how you would do a barbarian. Very strict warrior. That's it. That's what you get. You get a warrior, and that's what a barbarian is. Whereas a druid is like an ox, where they are kind of a trick of all trades. Which I know you really like the ox class because they're just
the oxes are what run the country. Right. They're the ones. They're the farmers. They're the engineers. They're the ones doing all the grunt work to make everything move forward. So they might be the most important of the 8, and they get the least amount of credit.
Right.
If you want to go to Harry Potter, they're the Hufflepuffs.
I liked how like the Ravens came across as very Ravenclaw too.
Yeah, they are very Ravenclaw.
Which I am, so whatever. If you want to talk about taking the test, I came across as Ravenclaw. Whatever.
But let's go through each of the 8 or the 7. So kind of to your thoughts on them. So what's the order? I try to go in Guardian order and I don't I'm not good. But let's start. I know number 1 is the fox. So Kane, we already know that we love him.
Yeah.
The number 2 is the raven, Mima.
How did you not know Brenna was the one? How did you not know? Like I just
that was
I know, but here's the thing. Sorry, she was thrust into that role of, hey, you solved this crime. But then again, she was like, oh, it like Kane was like, so how what makes you think you got this dragon oil all over you, whatever it's called? And she was like, well, it probably was in the bath. Who drew your bath? Brina. Why it couldn't be Brina because she's brand new. I'm like, in a world full of assassins and a person that just got assigned to you, you couldn't put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah,
and you're supposed to be a puzzle solver raven at the height of your powers, and you couldn't put 2 and 2 together.
There was 2 moments with Nima that I was like, because she's so smart and she figures things out very quickly. Right. But there was 2 moments, and the one moment was when it's like, who poisoned me with dragon scale? And I was like, maybe the person who drew your bath. Oh. Maybe. And then the other one was that, like, I could have killed Gaida. We'll get to Gaida's murder in a second. I could have killed Gaida while I was high and not remembering anything. And I was like, but because this was at the point that they didn't know that Gaida was drugged yet. So it was just like, but you think Gaida was killed by the blade, by Ruko's blade, which means that in your drugged sense, if it was you, you would have had to go to the Tiger Palace, steal his blade, come back to the Raven Palace, and kill Gaida. No way would you have done that. Like, so it's not you. You didn't kill her.
So there is I think it was like Dave Attell might have told this joke about like if my buddy blacked out, I would call him the next day, or he calls me with the Sunday scaries, and I would mess with him so bad. And I was hoping Kane would do that. It's like, did I do anything last night? Like, no, but you just randomly ripped my refrigerator door off. I don't know why you did that, man. He's like, I really did that. Yeah, dude, I didn't know you had that strength in you. Like Kane could have I would have totally bought that if Kane was just messing with her. But yeah, whatever.
So I think in the order, the next is Tiger. I think Tiger's number 3. So Ruko.
I got their order up, by the way. If you want me to list it, it's up to you.
Hey, but your thoughts on Ruko
Okay.
in the festival?
In the festival,
Yeah,
dude was just trying. I mean, I was. They.
ruthless.
I don't know how to put this because you can tell that they are trying to have us have sympathy for him. They are trying to. I did like he must be like Jacob Elordi or whatever his name is must be playing him in the movie because like Kane was just like I'd fuck him, but like as soon as he walked in and everyone just got silent and like Kane was just like I'd fuck him.
And then I love to, speaking of that, sorry, that later on when they're in the tiger trials and he's looking at both the tiger abbot and or abbess because it's a woman and Ruko, and he looks at them and he kind of like describes them as both evil and hot, and he's just like my type, but I have a lot of types.
Well, what was it when they were saying and like when Gata got killed and they were like questioning Kane was like I was at an orgy. I've met many satisfied people that could vouch for me.
And at first I thought that Kane was messing with Nima about the whole orgy thing, like I'm late for an orgy.
That dude's horny all the time.
And I thought that he was like just messing with her, and then later when he's like, it's surprising the things you can find out at an orgy, and I'm like, oh, so he actually did go to an orgy.
And that dude is very horny all the time throughout this book.
He is, you know who, if we're going Game of Thrones, he's Pedro Pascal's character.
Yeah, I forget his name. Yeah, he just kind of it was him, and then he's kind of a mixture of Pedro Pascal's character, and he probably would have been Pedro Pascal's character if he didn't get off him and the mountain didn't do their thing. But who's the he was the older dude that kind of went with Tyrion. It was like his champion. Like they went on their journey.
Oh, the one who then trained Jaime with the sword.
Yeah, like that guy.
Yeah,
the guy with like the goatee beard.
Kind of the one who's only there for the money. Yeah.
Yeah, the only there for the money. Like that's very like I was thinking him and Pedro. And when you brought up Pedro Pascal, I was like, yeah, he's a mixture of those two characters. Him just like, hey, I'm here for whoever pays me the most. I'm here, but he still has this code that he still goes by.
He doesn't kill people.
Yeah, he doesn't kill people. But yeah,
Zuko, Batman of him.
I said Zuko with Ruko. But yeah, he's not Zuko. Okay, no. Zuko is one of the greatest characters.
Greatest redemption arc of
all time. But it does have a lot of weird similarities. For one thing, he does have a sister that's basically his twin in the Avatar with Azula. Now Azula is.
When you were, I was like, Ruko's more Azula than he is Zuko.
Yes, he is more Azula than he is.
He's Azula with before she goes crazy.
Right. But the one thing is, I already knew that his dad was actually the emperor that was doing all this stuff, and so I was like, oh yeah, you had a manipulative, terrible father. Cool.
And a manipulative, terrible mother.
Right. Well, the mother in that one. And I still am ticked that we never got to season 4, so I knew what happened to Zuko's mom. We did find out in the comics, but yeah, no. Zuko's
I thought we were talking about Ruko.
Oh no, like, yeah, they're both parents are terrible.
Yeah. Zuko's mom is not.
Yeah, and like you said, all Ruko, like this book is really trying to get, and I do appreciate it that they're trying to make us understand why is the way he is.
Yeah. But
you didn't realize that Arden was there the whole time. That's the only thing.
I can see by the end of this trilogy, one or two things happen. That Ruko tries to redeem himself but isn't able to.
Mm-hmm.
And so, or they find some way to redeem him by the end. I can see like one of those two things happening because you first think of him as ruthless. And if you think of like who his father is, who his mother is, who his basically godmother, because his guardian mother is his training at the Tiger Monastery. Like he is trained to be a ruthless, like where we think like Cain was an assassin, Cain's an assassin, where like Ruko's kind of is a ruthless assassin. Like he's a ruthless killer. He's supposed to be devoid of all emotion. He even, like, when we're in his brain and his mother is there during the fight, and his mother's the one who basically set things up to have the dragons try to kill Ruko, that he's just like, you could see there that he has a lot of resentment for everyone being upset with him and his decision that he made when he was 16 years old. Now, did the decision that he made at 16 years old lead to a reasonable why everyone's resenting him? Yes, but the fact that then he lived in that resentment forever and never got to atone for his sins, and so then he basically wore that like armor and became a ruthless bastard. Like,
with the one where I was like, all right, either you're trying but you're making it hard for me to really understand where you're going with this character, is when he went into Nima's room when she was still sleeping, and that was so damn creepy. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where, and then she like just, and that was when the ravens, like he couldn't see the ravens, but the ravens were like screaming at her to basically trying to wake her up. And then he ends up, she ends up getting him drunk, and he admits everything. And they have a weird like heart to heart thing. I'm like, how do we go from him like having this really creepy, just staring at her sleeping, to him like trying? I don't.
But it wasn't in the like Edward Cullen way of creepy. It was one of those like, I need to have a conversation with her, and he just shows up in her room and she's asleep, so he's kind of just standing there waiting for her to wake up. Which is still creepy.
It's still creepy. Him just like, you're just waking up and just the person who you
and there's a random guy,
some ruthless killer is just staring at you. That because all she knows is he sent his sister away in the most ruthless way ever, like freaking Jesus walking.
And it's not just that, he also has a reputation.
Yeah,
like at the monastery too. So
I mean, that's why everyone went silent when he walked in the joint at the beginning for the beginning of the festival.
Okay,
so Ruko is just a very complex, complicated.
He's a complicated villain.
Yeah,
and I can see him becoming like an anti-hero, where like he's not a good guy, but he's not like the villain.
He's Spike from Buffy. I don't know. I'm throwing out random.
Who's the next Guardian?
The next Guardian,
is it Tala the Ox?
Yeah, it's Tala.
Thoughts on Tala?
She was there.
I like her wife.
Okay. Like you said, the Ox kind of was like taking the back seat of all the other characters,
except for Fen.
True.
But I like Tala's wife. So I guess yeah.
She didn't piss me off. She didn't do anything that I can remember.
What's the next Guardian?
The next Guardian is Katzen.
Yeah, once Gaida was dead, she's the one. It's funny because we have Ruko there, and yet I disliked Katzen more than Ruko, because like Ruko at least is who he says he is.
Could this author not write? He could make Ruko not be like a letter away from Zuko, because every time I just want to say, yeah, Zuko. This is not.
Yeah, but Katzen, and I can understand where she's coming from a little bit because of her grief. She was the closest to Gaida beforehand, but man, I'm just like, this bitch every time.
She won't give it up. Just chill out. And it's not Nima.
Can you wait for the investigation to go through?
Right? Talk about guilty before. Yeah, gosh, damn it. And you were saying, I did. Did you like my joke where you were just like, she's so hard headed or so stubborn? I was like, yeah, so was Blue in the Jungle Book. Like they're both bears. But no, it's not. Blue's it's just a godsend compared to Katzen. Katzen, she was on a mission, and for some reason, she thinks Nima is just the worst thing ever for some reason. Even though she was best friends with Regina, with basically the Regina George of the book. She was friends with
the Regina George of the book, and she was hanging out with Havoc a lot.
Which Havoc? Did you ever watch Recess?
Yes.
Okay, what was his name? Oh, the guy that always told on people, and he's the guy that would ask the teacher at the end of the class if there was homework.
Yeah. Is he next? But we could
Yes.
speak. Okay, Havoc. He, he was one of those where, like, at first I wasn't paying attention enough. He wasn't there enough to really pay attention to. It was just like, oh, that's just that rich kid. Okay, what? And his parents never show up for him and like constantly tell him that he was a mistake because basically like his dad knocked up his mom and like they were like, oh fuck, like
Yeah,
he's ruining this child's gonna ruin our party. But they were rich and so he grew up like that. But so like at first like you feel like, oh man, like I feel bad for this kid because you learn that at the beginning at the banquet, and then the more and more you go through you're like, this bitch ass.
Okay, it's Randall. Remember Randall from Recess? The guy I was just like, because the thing is his parents basically really weren't great parents, and so he was just wanting somebody to accept him. And the thing is Arden basically was the one that was just kind of like he groomed him. I don't know if you want to use that word.
It's one of those just like, oh, your family never accepted you, so you go to the worst person ever to try to find acceptance.
Right. And see, he did all of his bidding. So that's the thing. It's just like,
yeah,
I get how he got there, but man, are you a douchebag.
And it's like, it's hard to feel bad for him because he's a rich kid too.
Yeah.
He's a rich kid who grew up in privilege. So like, yeah, his parents sucked, but he grew up in privilege.
Yeah. And again, power-wise, he's like, oh, I'm going to go to the most powerful person. And, you know, it's basically like freaking Palpatine and Anakin with the...
Yeah, pretty much. Except for Anakin came from nothing, whereas this kid came from a lot.
It's sand and it's coarse.
All right, next Guardian is...
next Guardian is Shao.
I kind of love Shao.
Yeah, Shao. Remember, was it Shao that overheard Nima?
Shao's just a good guy.
Yeah.
He I feel bad for Shao because he was the one that had to escort Yana through the procession of the exile, and that really,
like he wanted to stab her, but he didn't want to,
and that really fucked him up. Yeah. And he was hoping that, because like at the end, how Yana got sick, and he was hoping that she would die of sickness so she didn't have to die in the forest. But Bina like saved her. But it kind of also felt too a little bit, because we learned that Yana had a crush on him. It kind of felt like it was a little reciprocated, but he obviously couldn't do anything about it because he's basically leading her on to her death.
He showed her mercy when she was really wanting him to kill her.
Yeah.
And he couldn't do it. He was basically like, I think that's the way it depicted in the book, where it seemed like she was like, just kill me. Just kill me.
So he was...
Didn't he like cut her a little bit? I don't know.
No. So basically, because you have to not remember their names ever again, he had to cut her name out of the Order of Exile that was stitched to her skin. So he goes to cut the paper, but he goes a little too deep and he nicks her. And she basically was just like, no, stab me.
Right.
Like, is wanting him to, and he couldn't do it.
No.
He couldn't, even though he knew that she was going to die, he couldn't be the one that killed her. Because in his mind is that even though he's escorting her to her death, he's not the one who killed her. The ones who killed her was Ruko and then Nima, riding the Order of Exile. But really just Ruko. I think he blames Ruko way more than he blames Nima.
He's the one that called the order.
Yeah. So, but if he was the one who actually stabbed her, then he would have to take the onus of her death.
It's so weird. Nima, did you kill someone? Yeah. Why? I wrote real good.
Yeah. And like basically it's not, Nima kind of was right where like it was gonna happen anyways.
Yeah, it was. Like I get it. But...
So like she didn't kill Ruko, killed her, and then everyone who decided to follow through with the order killed her afterwards. Because there's multiple steps. If people just decided, you know what, this is really harsh, and we're not going to do this because we know that she's innocent, then everyone could have been like, you might be the emperor, but we're standing up to you. They could have been a little bit more French. You know how the French like to revolt.
Yeah. Well, they didn't revolt enough against Spain, but that's beside the point.
But yeah, Shell is just one of those characters where like he's just a good guy, man.
Yeah. Was he the one that overheard Nima and Kane talking, and then he kind of like she was like, "Oh, a friend." Was that Shell, or was that someone else with an S name? I forget. He like overheard her talking to Kane, and then Kane went away, and then he kind of came. He came in, or somebody was it Surfer? I don't know.
I am not. The part is not ringing a bell in my head, but anyways, next Guardian
was the dragon end up being the visitor proxy?
Yeah,
or Pike. I mean, visitor Pike.
Visitor Pike.
Which I so what threw me off in the book was he was like, yeah, I'm in love with
Ysilla.
Thank you. And I was like, okay, but then they said he walked in, he had like white hair, and I don't know how they could just be, 30 with white hair. Like I didn't know, but then they were like, oh no, he knew Ysilla when they kind of grew up together because they knew each other from the island, because he was basically shunned in a sense because he was going to be a visitor for him. So what is he, like 50?
No, so the visitors, one thing that we learn about the dragons is that the dragons actually live much longer than all the other humans. So if you are chosen, your lifespan is much longer than a regular human who is in Orin. But the visitors visibly age quicker than the other dragons because they are walking. They're walking all across the country. And this country is probably like the size of the US or maybe like the size of Russia, kind of like it is a large piece of land, right?
Right.
And so like probably the size of China, yeah. Like the cars are great.
Family.
And so the wear and tear of traveling and walking everywhere is presented on them. Now, we don't actually know his age, but we have to assume that he's close enough in age to Ysilla.
Right. So that was the one thing that threw me off, because like in the House of the Dragon, that one family, I forget what they call it. It's been a while. I haven't got back in the game.
Targaryens?
No, the ones that have like the white hair in the House of Dragon. Remember the black dude that has like the white hair in
the Valarians.
The Valarians, yes, and they have like that white hair, and it's like he looks in his 40s. And so I was like, oh, okay. And plus in the world of fantasy, like you might just have white hair naturally. So that's what was one thing I was just trying to get my wrap around. And then when they did the backstory for Ysilla, and she basically was the same age.
Because they were kids together on the island.
I was like, oh, okay. So they do, that is age like we typically age and have white hair there. But I did like how they, especially the lore, because I love the lore of this book, of how it's just like when you're a visitor, you have basically pale eyes, and you don't have like the crimson eyes, or like your eyes are on fire like the dragons do.
He as a visitor would have the normal eyes. The reason why he doesn't have the dragon eyes is because they took away his power.
Right.
So he had to give up his power to be able to be allowed to be the dragon proxy. Because if he wouldn't have given up his power, then he would be breaking the rules of the festival. Right. So in his normal day-to-day job of being a visitor, he would have the dragon eyes.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and then the dragons are the only ones that actually use magic.
Yes.
Okay, and that's why Ysilla had them by the balls, because she stole all their dragon oil that takes decades to, at least what she
Yeah.
stole takes decades to
make.
make.
And what we learn about the dragons is, so with all the other 7 guardians, people choose. So they decide, like, oh, I'm going to be a monkey, I'm going to be a fox, I'm going to be a raven. You get to choose which guardian you want. The dragons don't choose that, it's chosen for you. So basically, a child gets an infinity symbol on the inside of their wrist, and when that happens, then a visitor shows up to their house and basically steals that child away. And if the family tries to resist, then the visitor has the right to kill everyone.
Gotcha.
And only those who are chosen get to come to the island. And then we learn that Ysilla's daughter is a chosen one because she has the markings on, but because Ysilla has some power against the dragons because she's holding the dragon, or we don't quite know yet, like, do the dragons know about her daughter? Do they not know about her daughter? Kind of like there's stuff there that's probably going to play in book 2 and book 3.
Right.
But that's going to be that is one thing where it's just like, okay, how's that going to go? But Ysilla herself was never chosen. She just ended up on the island, and they thought that maybe one day that she would become a chosen, that the symbol would show up on her, but it never did.
Because Ysilla's parents decided to take a 3-hour tour in a bad storm and got shipwrecked on the Dragon Island.
By not listening to the crew.
Right. And then they get there like, well, we got into shipwreck. And the dragon people were just like, you
guys are not, only the chosen are allowed here.
Right. And they were like, well, we got shipwrecked. And he was like, did you not listen to the weather?
We had no choice. Goes, you did have a choice.
You did have a choice.
You could have listened to your captain and you didn't.
Yeah. So,
now, we mentioned it, but let's get into Gaida's murder. So this book, at first you think this book is going to be a coming of age about Yana. Then you're like, oh, this book is going to be a tournament book. And then you're like, wait, nope, it's a murder mystery. This book decides to be a lot of different things, and yet it still all works together and meshes well. So Gaida ends up dead with the blade of peace stabbed into her back. And then Nima and Cain get assigned to figure out her murder. And we learn that the Emperor, Andrin Asberson, got Havoc to poison her because she figured out the secret. She wasn't completely correct, but she figured out that Bersun wasn't Bersun. Mm-hmm. She thought it was his brother, but it was actually Andrin. And she was going to reveal that secret, so they kill her in the middle of the night, and Bina comes up, finds her dead, and decides to frame Ruko for it by putting, so that way people knew that, like, the death was at, so she was already dead when she got stabbed in the back. And and Nima goes, basically finds all this out. And the Emperor and Vabris think at first, like, oh, we're gonna make Nima a contender and she won't have enough time, and then she'll just find the person who stole the blade, and then we can just frame that person as the one who killed Gaida, and we're all good and everything's great. And it's just like, but you put Nima on the case, and Nima's Nima's a smart cookie. She's gonna figure things out. So she figures out that she was poisoned, and she was never supposed to figure that out
Yeah. Well,
in the first place.
who leaves that teapot just sitting
Right?
there the whole time? You had the knife already pledged. The knife was there. Yeah, it kind of just you walked into that one. Couldn't you have it go back in there and take away the murder weapon?
Yeah, like if you killed her with poison in the tea while she is doing her, while she's competing in one of the trials, couldn't you have had Vabras go in there and take the tea out?
Yeah, just whatever. Just
Anyway.
again, and you could, and and then like I said, Neiman never suspected Brina of having anything to do with anything. Just some of the things in this book, I'm like, I know how you got there, and I understand why you took the beast to get there, but sometimes I'm just like, you did so well on explaining all the lore, the world building, and the characters, and then just those little things, I just felt like could have made a little bit more sense than just being.
And to me, I give it, because this is like a high octane, like I think if everything was done perfectly and Nima did everything perfectly and everyone made the perfect decision, it would be a boring book. I think the fact that you have to put in account, like, she just got fired, she's gonna have to leave the island, everything that she worked for, the fact that she still thinks about her doing the Order of Exile every day for those 8 years. So she's like, oh, I did that for nothing now. She has no friends. And then you have to think in her head, and it goes, and then now the person that she hates is going to reveal that she was actually expelled. Goes, and then on top of that, then that person ends up dead. So like, it's literally everything piling up. So of course Nima's not going to think and do everything correctly because she has the shitstorm. And if anyone were to expect a person to do everything and make the correct decisions when they have had to deal with the amount of shit that she's had to deal with in the last 24 hours. Like,
I get it, but she's also like, as far as how the Ravens are supposed to be depicted, that's the only thing. It's like you made them.
To me, it made her more human.
Yeah,
like she's not a god; she's a human, and so she's not going to do everything perfectly.
Right. It's just how they're like, oh, the Ravens are like they can solve puzzles and all this other stuff, and I guess the only reason, I guess the way you described it there, I guess that's why she was like, Bean is the only one that's actually like nice to me other than Cain. So I don't want to like.
Yeah, and I think too, it was one of those where like everyone treats Nima like shit, and the only ones who ever treated her nicely was Cain, but Cain's not treating her nicely at that moment because Cain's still hurt. So the only person who's being nice to her at all is Bina.
Right.
So if a person is being nice to you, you're gonna just take that in. And she did.
Yeah.
And then she was drugged, so then she was a little high there.
Yeah. That was a weird point in the book where when she was drugged and then like the book was talking to her.
But the book was
it was telling the truth.
I hate that he has my name, but the book was Soul.
Yeah.
Solitary Raven.
Yeah.
All right, which comes to the next topic. The fucking Ravens.
So hey guys, the gods in this book are very much like the Greek/Roman gods of like they have their yes, they're more powerful than everyone else, but they're also kind of a dick.
I love you thought you forgot about us, didn't you? Like I love whenever it was like the Ravens POV in the chapter. That they actually had me cracking up. That you were not so far like the reference to Greek and Roman gods, but even to Greek plays, when you have the people off to the side who are speaking, who break the fourth wall to like speak to the audience kind of thing. That is these Ravens. And I like the purpose of the ravens in the sense of, because a lot of this book is in Nima's POV. So when you are in the raven's POV, you get to see the stuff that's happening in other parts of the island. So you get to see that conversation between the Emperor and Vabris. You get to see Kane through the eyes of the raven. Like, we do get Kane's POV and we do get Ruko's POV in the book, but like it's short amounts of times. A lot of times you're getting the Raven's POV watching them do stuff that's when Nima isn't around, kind of thing. So that's what gives, you get to see the Raven's POV of like when Numa's there, and they also get to be used as a device to go see what's going on in other parts of the island without Nima having to be there.
Yeah, it definitely is kind of that three-eyed raven type thing. Like they're, but that's how ravens are really anyway. Like they're always seeing everything. Like they're kind of like the security cameras. Like that's just how ravens are always depicted in fantasy. Of like, either if you see ravens, either that's like it's like either a symbol of death is approaching, or they are always like raven. It wasn't, what was it? Odin didn't have ravens, but he had seeing birds. Like that was like Odin could see everything. That's kind of
Odin eye.
Yeah, the Odin eye. But you also would see like he would have like his like birds would be like, oh, that's Odin actually watching you. So that's why every time you saw a bird, you thought Odin was always watching you, as far as Norse mythology is concerned. And ravens, obviously the three-eyed raven with in Game of Thrones, but then you also see ravens being depicted as being like, this person, they're seeing shit. They're always like, there's no secrets if a raven's around. And plus the ravens can manipulate actual voices. Like that's an actual thing that the bird can do. Yeah. It's creepy as hell if you ever go watch it. Like it's really cool, but it's also creepy. Like ravens can actually like mimic your voice in actual real life. That's not like a fantasy thing. It's an actual real thing.
And like the ravens, unlike the fox, where the fox god actually did come over to, and he's fully in the natural world and he's not in the hidden realm. Mm-hmm. All the other of these 8 gods like cannot cross over. The fox crossed over because he tricked in that story, they tricked that girl, and he did it by being clever, but then he was never able to go back home. Where so the other gods live there, so the only times they can go into the real world and affect the real world is sending fragments of themselves, and that's what these ravens, these birds are, fragments. Now all these fragments are wanting to enter Nima because they're like, they've been told by the dragon that if Ruko wins, the world's going to come to an end, basically. Yeah. And so they have to try to stop Ruko to win, and they've chosen Nima as their hero. But basically, if all these ravens enter into Nima, she's going to die. Right. Because it's going to be too much. The power of the god is going to be too much for her to host it. And we hear that from the solitary raven's soul, which when I was typing my notes, you know how weird it was to say, soul, he did this, soul, like.
I was giving you so much crap. I'm like, you're like, I don't know what tribe I would be annoying. In. And I was just like, there's literally a character with your name, not SOUL, is literally your spelling too.
Yeah. And like my name, so in Spanish speaking countries, sol, it means sun in Spanish, and it is a girl's name. For Jewish people, Sol or Saul, spelled SOL, short for Solomon, so it's a boy's name. So a lot of times I got confused for a boy when they saw like my name, not by physically, but like from seeing my name. So yeah, I was just like, it's a dude soul and he's annoying.
Yeah. Which annoyed you more because someone with your name is annoying.
Yeah, oh my god. I was just like, when he was screeching during the bear trial and he was screeching it, I was like, damn right she's gotten. And then when he was trying to, because he's just like, I'm a solitary raven and Nima's a solitary raven, which means that she can't be in love with another person, so I'm gonna break them up.
Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow.
He tried to fuck up the relationship between
just
Nima
think
and
if Eddie
Kane.
Murphy voiced that bird. I just want to put that in your mind. Just put that in your mind.
No. But and I love to, which funny enough, like later on when Kane finds out about Soul and and that he was in Nima, and he was like, oh, he was when we were having sex in the bar and he was there. Yeah. And then like Nima goes, so would like to let you know that he hid away the whole entire time.
Not touching that, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
But these ravens, it was just, they're weird. Like, they were a good device in the story. They're there for a reason. It's not like, oh, we're just gonna have these here just cause. But yeah, if they cracked me up and they were weird.
Yeah, I'm with you on those. So they were loud.
Yeah,
that would annoy the crap out of me if I'm the only person
that can hear them, and that's
just like, and they are just squawking.
Yeah. Okay, are you talking to a bird right now?
Yeah. And like when it started for the half, she's like, "Can you see anything? Like, see what? Ah, shit!" Like when Nima finally realized that they were actually like, "All right, these ravens are actually like, I can only see them." She's like, "God damn it!"
Yeah, and they're there to prove that the gods are actually real in this world, where like people like Nima and Kane did not believe in them. They were like, Nima's like, oh, this is a nice story to keep the structure of society and to keep people in line. But it's just like, nope, they're actually real.
Nope, they're real.
Yeah. And okay, my last plot point, and then we can go into anything else we want to talk about. Andrin, his plan, and his victory for now, because book 1, Barry was Empire Strikes Back. It ends with the bad guys winning.
Yeah. Yep. Ruko won, but then his dad possessed his body. So
and then Nima and Kane have to escape.
Yep. Nima and Kane have to escape. So it is the Uno reverse card of A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. Because now we had the Empire Strikes Back. Now we're going to have A New Hope, maybe? I don't know what we're going to do.
Or maybe the bad guys are going to win even more in book 2. And so then, like, who knows?
And then all the dragons.
All the dragons.
They will
and
teach
then Daenerys shows up and burns everything down.
Yes. Right. Who knows? You knew something was up the whole time.
Why they wanted Ruko to win so bad.
Why they wanted just it was very FIFA and Argentina. Oh, sorry, to say that out loud. I am looking forward to that Spain-Argentina match, though. I think it's freaking really good. But yeah, you can definitely tell, and just how he was somehow he treated Ruko differently than the other ones.
Do you think Andrin was proud in any way of his son for what he became? Because you get, I wouldn't want to say like it's his POV, it's the Raven's POV, but when you're in the Raven's POV, you get to hear the thoughts of other people. So you're kind of like in their POV as well. And he was just like, Ruko might have made that decision, but that decision then put him on this path, and like it changed him for. He's like changed him for the better when actually it changed him for the worse. But in Andrin's eye, he's like, "Oh, this is great."
Like, yeah, that's great.
Do you think in any way he was proud of his son in a really fucked up way?
Yeah, he's proud that he could take over his body. that he just actually like he just showed up and participated, because that's all you had to do. Just let old dad take care of the rest of it. Even though I'm going to take care, I'm gonna possess you so I can keep ruling, all because I'm a bad loser. Like, you talk about the most petty of petty villains. He did all of this because he lost to Braden or Burden or whatever his name was.
To Burson.
Burson. And all because he lost to Burson.
Yeah, he thought he should be
I had
emperor.
that link ready to go, by the way. I had that link ready to go.
Oh, okay.
Well, I will delete that. Here, I'm going to post it again. There. No, it's not letting me. Okay, fine. No. What the frick are we doing?
For those who don't know, in the Discord, which you can join down below, people part of the Discord get to be part of the book club, and then they get to come on here and speak their thoughts. And I just sent the link in the Discord.
I had it ready to go. It's typically my one job that I have, other than just talking out of my ass on this show, is putting that link in the Discord.
I was like, oh, he hasn't sent the link yet. Let me do it real quick.
We were right at the hour 30, which we typically do, but I didn't know. And you said like we can do whatever once, so I figured that we're going to bring that on. But yeah, no, that was the one plot twist where I suspected that Burson wasn't who he said he was. But until the reveal happened. But man, when that reveal happened, it went like, okay, yep, it's actually me. And Cain and Nema, you lost by I possessed my son. All the gods came in. We're going to imprison all of them. The end. Congratulations, America. Deal with it.
All right. Now, before we bring Ryan on, and
he's just like, really? I just got here. Can you just bring me? Whatever. Go ahead.
And before we add, like, I'm going to ask you too, do you have anything else to say about the book? And out of the 8 houses, which I'm going to allow you, if you want to choose dragon, you can choose dragon, even though that's the only one you're not allowed. That's the only one that you can't choose in the book. Out of the 8, if you were 16 years old, 16-year-old Josh, and you had to choose which of these 8 gods to follow for the rest of your life, which one are you picking?
That's a tough choice there. I wouldn't do dragon because I don't want to be exiled away from the rest of my family in that situation. So I would not choose dragon because of that. I still would probably pick the fox because my whole family are just a bunch of loving smartasses. And we're still loyal to a fault because Cain is loyal to Nema as much as they bitch and moan to each other. When he still cares, the other foxes seem to just do their thing. They're really not tied down to a certain, like, it's not like the bear who is just like, eat, sleep, breathe, blah, 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 yeah, oh, yeah, blah, 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 yeah. I mean, obviously the ox would be like the way you would just go, because it's like, yeah, we're doing everything. But I still, as much as I don't travel, I would love to travel, and I feel like the foxes would also are traveling around and doing a bunch of stuff. The raven, I like looking up stuff, but I don't want to be stuck in a library. I'll put it that way. So I just wouldn't do that. Tiger would be interesting, but the way they're depicted in this book, no.
They're if we're keeping a Harry Potter reference, they're the Slytherins.
Yeah, they're the Slytherins. Even though I think a tiger is awesome as far as an animal is concerned. And monkey, no. Like, I was probably between the fox and the hound. Shout out to Disney. So between those, because the hounds are protective. They're basically the guard,
and we get to see like good guy shall,
right?
And then we also get to see the hounds being evil pieces of shit. So you get the dichotomy.
Well, not all, dogs are. My favorite animal is the wolf, as you know. So obviously, but the hound is more of like they're protecting the hound like a beagle or a hunting hound or that type
Mm-hmm.
of thing, like a tracker. Whereas a wolf is a totally different thing of what they're depicting. But yeah, at the end of the day, just looking
Yeah.
back at it, I might have chose something different, but to me, I would choose the fox at the end of the day. And it's not just because of Kane being a sarcastic, smartass, cunning dude. It's just I just feel like it the pros outweigh the cons out of
Yeah.
everything else.
No, for me, I do love the foxes. They have my sense of humor. They know when to have fun, but they also know when to be serious.
Right.
But I don't think I would pick them, but I would hang out with them.
Yeah.
The ravens, I do love to read books. I do love to look things up. I do like to be in libraries. I can spend a lot of time, but there are certain aspects of the raven that I kind of like am not attracted to. That like maybe I'd go and hang out with Nima, or I'd go hang out with maybe we've got a cat in the background. But I probably wouldn't choose that. And then the monkeys, I do like to be artistic. I do like the arts, but I don't need that to be the entirety of my personality. Mm-hmm. So I probably wouldn't choose the monkey. So I think I'm going with the ox because we didn't just see one, that they're the reason why everything works in the country, and that they are hard workers. But they have that work hard, play hard mentality. So like they're also gonna party and they're gonna eat.
They're the blue collar class.
They're the blue collar. They're the Latinos of of the basic. Like, oh, we're gonna have a big ass party with a fuck ton of food, buffet style. We're going to work out in the fields and we're going to build things. Like, come on. So I think I would fit in with the foxes. And then also, like, I don't want to be formal, and Fen doesn't want to be formal either. So I get Fen.
Right.
So I think I'm an ox.
All right.
You're a fox and I'm an ox. So
fox, ox. There's not a third thing that could rhyme with that, Ryan. So you have your selection.
So let's bring on Ryan. He can tell us which of the 8 he is, and then tell us his thoughts on the book.
Hey, man.
It's been a while, it feels like.
Well, it's been like 2 weeks since you and Soul hung out. But
yes. And even then, it just feels like that was a while ago.
I know, right?
Yeah.
A lot of games have happened since then.
Yeah, I was like, all because me and Tushka decided to F around and do a fantasy football show that somehow or another you looked up with Soul. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, we want to do that in our community. Link down below, the Discord group.
Yeah, you could actually, on occasion, meet people in person.
Yeah.
IRL, as the kids say.
So, thoughts on this book, and which of the 8 are you?
I probably have a Raven personality, but Fox would be more fun to be. So if I just want to I want to be able to just do my own thing and roam around and just be and care but not care, pretend I don't care, but just but yet I have the personality of just trying to keep everything in order and stuff like that, because that just is me. So it's really but I don't need to, I don't need the big fancy parties either. So I mean, there's a few that work there pretty well for me, but we'll see. But as for the book, obviously I liked it because this is the one I recommended. And I'm glad that and I read this one a while ago, so I needed your refresher because I forgot how expansive that world was. But I knew it was a good enough book that I wanted to put it on our radar to do, because this felt like something that you could sink your teeth into and have a substantial, and it has been a substantial recap, because you can actually do with it and have all these different pieces. I mean, it was an enjoyable read. Yeah, it might have been 600 plus pages, but you really could get into it. and it just moved along. And I'm glad I read it. And when the sequels come out, that'll be on one on my list that I'll pick back up when it actually makes its way up.
Have anyone researched when the sequel's going to come? When she's
the next one comes in 2027. Okay. I don't know when. But speaking like substantial, like if we want to went through this the way we normally do with, if we would have went back to last year when we went chapter by chapter, I have 36 pages of notes.
Yeah.
On this, like if this would have lasted 5 hours if we went chapter by chapter.
This would have been like a 7-part recap.
So, as you said, there'll be some books that you just the whole book would be the whole season.
And that's a tell to this book. Like I said, it's not. I don't know if you've watched the beginning, but to me, it's still not as good as Blood Over Brighthaven. But of course, Blood Over Brighthaven is a standalone.
Drink what?
Yeah. But no, as far as, and I said, you did good, because this is the best lore book that I've read in quite some time. Because a lot of times when you get into this lore, this lore is in depth, and then there's more in depth on top of it. Like it's a Mariana Trench of lore in a sense. Of how deep it goes,
and some of the lore is true and some of it's not, and you have to navigate those waters,
right?
Because like who's telling the story,
right? But it's written well enough to where you still are intrigued and it's keeping you there the whole time. And plus, it helps to have pictures in the book, as Sol showed, as far as the map and stuff. So we got the Middle Earth, we got as far as that's concerned. As I alluded to, and I'll ask you the same questions that I asked her, because I did look at some of the reviews and some of the people that said that this book didn't live up to the hype, or it was overrated, all that stuff, is because, for one, because the characters, they thought that they acted very 2022, like YA based dialogue,
which YA would be teenagers, not young 20s.
Well, they're teenagers, but they're going to be played by 25-year-olds in the movie when they do it.
No, that's where, like, and this is a side note and I'm sorry that I'm interrupting here, but that's one thing that annoys me so much with reviewers. They'll be like, "This is so YA. They sound like they're 22," and it's just like, YA means that they are a teenager. Like it does not, when they're in their 20s, that's either new adult or adult goes.
So for me, here's the thing: is I definitely see what you're saying there on some of the dialogue and some of the actions, because in hindsight, I don't think that I caught that they were 30 plus, and they weren't giving those vibes as they were of that age. So if you would have said they were in their 20s somewhere, I would believe it, because that just feels like that would actually be the time frame you're going to do some of this competitions, but then not really, because if you're trying to be a ruler, you should be older anyways. But no, I could definitely see that.
The stakes in this were way heavier.
I think the ages between like all of the contenders was like between, you had the late 20s, and then you have some in their 30s, and then you had the oldest being Katzen, who was in her 40s.
Right.
Yeah, because you tell the people that they had been in it for a while, as in like they're some real soldiers for quite a while, and then some people just thrown into it. So,
which is kind of, I guess it's kind of like you were saying. I'm glad that you brought up with the dragons tribe, or whatever you want to call it, and the fact that they age so slowly, or like live longer. I would say that is because if with the bear, how they live and how they train wouldn't be past your prime if you were in your 40s. So wouldn't they put a younger person?
The way that they describe, so like all of the monasteries, so the way that the contenders were chosen was they had to win in their monasteries. So they had to fight and win the trials in their monasteries to become the one that gets sent to the island.
Okay, that's right.
So Katzen beat everyone, including people in their 20s who were fighting against her. She beat them in the fights and in the trials. So she went through all of that, and even like, I know that she's dead, but you and I still don't like her. Regina George, yeah, that she told Katzen was just like, you won this fair and square to become a contender, because it doesn't matter what your age is.
Right, because it felt like some other houses like selected them. That's why I got confused.
Yeah, we're like, we know that Ruko in his trials in the Tiger Monastery that he killed a few of his other possible contenders in the fights
with the sword that was supposed to bring back the gods. Oh, whatever.
Yeah, some people really wanted to win and be a part of it. Some just were voluntold.
Yeah. So that's why I got confused, because I was like, if you were voluntold, wouldn't you see? But the bear, yeah, that made more sense that they would literally find the strongest one to represent them and have their own thing. But the thing is how they're like, the trials are not just going to be a bunch of just punch, kick, stab.
Yeah. And like, we learned that the Raven,
which it wasn't.
Yeah, the Raven Monastery, we learned that like Gaida wanted to be a contender, and that no one else put their hat in the ring because they all loved Gaida. So then Gaida, she ran unopposed.
No. And that was the reason I keep bringing her as Regina George is because of that song that she sang that pissed off Arden / whatever. I'm terrible with these names, but that pissed off Arden, and Nema knew it was going to piss him off. That obviously would bring her, and I was like, man, that is the most Regina George thing I ever saw. And then they blamed Lindsay Lohan for pushing Regina George in front of the bus. And so, of course, they're going to blame Nema for killing Gaida. So it's just like, that was such a Mean Girls like plot point that I saw in that.
But it's interesting how even how that song came back around, having much more meaning than it was just, a random song just to make somebody mad.
And that's where I like where I said earlier that there's these little aspects in the book at the beginning where you think it's just this really small thing, and then it becomes a much bigger thing later on. And like, you just have, it is that the threads.
No. Yeah, it makes you think. Hopefully, that second book, those things that you didn't quite like, might be hashed out a little bit more. I mean, because as I doubt the author would probably be, I don't know, reading the comments in essence of like, what could she do better? So,
how many pages do you think book 2 is? Because a lot of times sometimes you see people who write book 2s and they write less pages, and sometimes you see people who write book 2s and it is much longer. So where do you think how much do you think is going to be squeezed into book 2? How long do you think it's going to be?
I mean, it really depends on how big of a story they wants to put together, because I could actually see it being shorter depending on characters, how many, because some people have died, certain things have happened. I mean, how big of a world can they do? But they could go pretty big.
Imagine having like an 800-page book.
I mean,
which happens.
We really don't know much about the dragons. And in a fantasy novel, in a fantasy world, you can't slight the dragon situation, because people love the dragons. I don't care how they're depicted. You gotta give a little bit more to the dragons, and I would say.
And we know from the gods that the dragon was the first god, and he breathed fire to create all the other gods. Now, so book 2 is expected to come out October 5th, 2027. Just look this up. And it's called The Fox in Winter.
Huh. So we're really going to get into the lore of Cain and the foxes? So is it gonna be from Kane's point of view?
Maybe.
Which, if it's from Kane's point of view, yeah.
Yeah. As when we were talking about book sizes, I have to come back to Dungeon Crawler. That book, that first book, we just bought it for my son for him to read, this summer. And obviously, it's a lot smaller one. This is the most up to date one, which is obnoxiously large as well. So, if you have I'm just curious on page numbers in here. Like 8. Like almost around 700.
Is that 7 or 8?
Cool, yeah.
No, I'm saying, like, is that number 7 or 8 in the?
Oh, this is 8.
8. Okay.
Yeah, this is the new one just came out. Yeah, book 8.
I feel like Dungeon Crawl also like One Piece. He's never going to get out of the game, and they're never going to find the One Piece. Like,
we got my answer to page count. So according to Goodreads, the book will be 704 pages long.
Oh, jeez.
Man, that Dragon Island is going to be huge.
Yeah.
And it goes, return to the world of imperial intrigue, ancient magic, and soaring ambition in The Fox in Winter, the highly anticipated sequel to The Raven Scholar, the epic fantasy phenom by Hugo Award-nominated author Antonia Hodgson.
I've seen a bunch of Dungeon Crawler Carl stuff.
I went to a Comic-Con, and they had all the different shops out there, and then this is all laser printed, so it has all the different. Yeah, I like it, and I'm like, I want to pick it up.
I haven't seen any updates on the show yet, but anyway, back to the Raven Scholar. What were some of the, like? I know you nominated it, Soul loved it. Do you have? And obviously, I brought up some things that I kind of had. Like I said, this is like nitpicking because I think this book, like Soul said, no word was like there was no fodder in this book. I think everything made sense.
It earned its pages.
Yeah, it earned its pages. Thank you. So there was no fodder in this. Was there anything that would keep it from being a 5-star book to you?
I mean, the only thing, obviously it was doing so much. I mean, it's not a bad thing that it was doing so much, but I'm sure there could have been some. I can't think of them off the top of my head that they could probably pulled back on, or just maybe not included, because there's some stuff that maybe they barely even touched upon. And so, unless some of those items actually get touched in the second book or stuff like that, but again, I don't remember which ones it was. Again, I liked it well enough to definitely put it out there. So
yeah, well, you got a thumbs up for me and Soul. I mean, just the lore itself was like yes, and anytime a book can grab you from the beginning, like it did, especially when it did like the Drew Barrymore Psycho. Like screen thing of just like, hey, she's actually dead. Also, I think she's going to come back with vengeance. I really think Yana's going to somehow survive.
I think because Shal
didn't kill her.
I think Shal Worthy, we know him to be, of his character, to be a good and honest man, and he wrote in his report that she was dead. I don't feel like he would be the type of person to forge a report.
I just really hope
he seems very like he follows the letter of the law no matter what it is type of dude. And so I would love for her not to be dead, but I think she is dead. And I think her staying dead actually does more for Ruko's character and does more for like it makes a consequence for his decision.
Yeah. The only way I could see this person coming back is, again, we don't quite know what the dragon magic is. I mean,
her mom has it, and she loves Yana. We know that.
Can they bring back the dead?
Right.
Bring back the dead.
Bring out your dead. I'm not dead.
I'm not dead.
I'm not dead.
And And we did learn from Yasila, because she's not a dragon herself, but because she spent enough time with them, she learned that anyone, the dragons have told themselves so much that, and told everyone that only dragons can use magic, that they said it enough that they actually believe it.
Yep. Believe their own crap.
They believe their own crap. You say something enough, you end up believing it. And so it's going to be, I wonder if by book 3, you have Nima and Cain and all these other characters actually using magic because anyone can use magic. I wonder if it'll get to that point.
Maybe. Going back
You're not
to
all muggles.
Right. All right. And this was kind of the thing that we kind of, the Ruko character.
Do you think he can be redeemed?
To me, he's the most complicated character, because the way he's written, it's like, I want to hate him. I know he's a villain, but yet they're trying to make you have sympathy for him. And that's a very tough thing to do. But the fact that they were able to pull it off, I do give a thumbs up to the author. But I just don't think you fully redeem. You can't, like Jaime Lannister, I guess is the closest I can think of like, dude was like just pushing
push a child out
the window, and then 4 seasons later, like, oh no, Jaime's my dog. Like, what? No.
And we pretend like the last season never happened.
No, he got with Brianna and Tarth and lived happily ever after. Anyway, but yeah, so just thoughts on because I think he's the most complex character in the book in itself, because Cain is awesome, but he's also, we know what Cain is, we know what Nima is, we know what Shal is, like we know what each character is, where Ruko, they're leaving, I don't know, I'm more intrigued with him and going forward than I am with the other ones, because obviously he's Arden right now, I know that, but just how he was written was definitely more complex than any other character in this book to me.
I think it depends on how quickly can be one pulled away from the other. I mean, if you could actually you got to get be your own person sooner, right. and then kind of get more experiences, and actually do things to step up. Be like, hey, I'll help this person out. Whatever the plots are gonna, the storyline's gonna be. It's just trying to do enough good to be. Basically not as bad of a light. And yeah, because he has a vibe right now.
He did feel guilty. That's the thing. They did show that he felt guilty about what he did to Yana.
Yeah,
this thought came to my head, and but to go to, he did feel guilty about Yana. Like, he thought that Yana might be alive from that note, and that made him really happy. And then he was dejected, and it seemed like any hope drained from his body. That was the way it was explained when he realized, no, she's actually dead. So a lot of people say, oh, this guy has no soul, and then you kind of see moments of where he is a real person who cares about things, but he's trying to hide away his personhood and trying to be just the thing. But he reminds me of Holland from the A Darker Shade of Magic series, because Holland, the Antari from White London, who is a bad guy, but you get sympathy for him by the end of the series, and he also gets his body taken over by that god from Black London that takes over his body and tries and then uses him. So I was like, he's very Haruka is very Holland coded, but a little better.
Those are the best villains are the ones that aren't just I want to take over the world because I want to. I hate those. Which is what Marvel did for in their heyday, was all their villains were I don't want to take over the world. Great, we get it. It's the ones that you
So you don't like the Pinky and the Brain?
All right, we're not going to go there. That is Shakespearean. Okay,
Meister's they're trying to do so much more than just of what their world is. So.
Right.
They're not stuck in their little cage, but that's
Right.
it's, you know.
But anyway, but I just always like a villain where I understand their motive, but I also understand, like you're saying, he's kind of the anti-hero.
Yeah.
Of like, I made a bad choice when I was 16.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking about. This age, he made this choice, and then he's being brought up by people pushing him to keep on this path that is.
Right.
And he's not, and he's making his own decisions, but with
He's
a lot of guidance. And then as he gets more out of his bubble, he's also seeing things and that's where you could see there could be that redemption if he gets away from all these other things that are pushing him in a bad direction.
And just when he was right there, his dad overtook him.
And we learn that, like, so he goes to the Tiger Monastery at the age of 16, and we learn that in his first year there, that his roommate was spying on him. And then like that he's very brave in the daytime, but he goes to sleep crying every night. And so then the Tiger Abbess brings him in to tell him that, and then tells him, if you want to win the throne, you have to start listening to the tiger, and then basically tells him he has to kill the spy. And so the first person he ever kills is his roommate at the age of 16. So not only did he make the decision to do what he did to his sister, then he's being pushed to then be a murderer by his own hands at the age of 16, and being told, listen to the tiger, listen to the tiger. And then you see in that conversation with the Tiger Abbess that now in present day, he's like, was it the tiger telling me to do these things, or was it her telling me to do these things? And am I doing bad things by just listening to the people who are trying to guide me?
Everybody also, has their issues.
You're not born evil. You might be raised to be that way.
So I do feel sorry for him in a sense. He's still a bad guy.
No.
And so I'm not cheering for him to win or anything, but I do feel bad for him.
I still think, he could still do good and to help the scheme of things. But again, it's not going to fully, put him out. It's not going to clear his slate with everyone.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is that's kind of the redemption arc of, that's why I said Jaime Lannister. I know I said Zuko, that's because he literally is a letter away from that. He's not Zuko. Zuko was Ruko never had Uncle Iroh.
Yeah.
To show
and
him.
Imagine if he would have had an Uncle Iroh.
Yeah, I know.
Been down a different path.
If the tiger was Uncle Iroh.
Wrong choices, wrong houses.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if you've watched the Avatar: The Last Airbender, Ryan. I know it's technically a kid show, but it's an amazingly written show.
I'm watching X-Men 97, so whatever.
Dude, we can have if you want to do a whole series on X-Men 97, why it's one of the greatest things ever to be created.
I haven't watched I haven't watched
the new season yet. I want to wait for it all to come in. I'm just going to binge it.
I just haven't watched the last
season episode. Season 1 of X-Men 97. Awesome.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about Gambit. We're not going to talk about Gambit.
I saw Gambit. I saw at that Comic-Con, the voice actor was there.
Oh, the original from the X-Men series?
The one that was in there from last season.
Oh, okay.
But then the original Storm. Sorry, I go on a tangent. And Storm and one of the others, two of the originals.
That's really cool.
That's really cool.
Oh wow. But any other thoughts on this story and where you would like to see it go in book 2?
I will say no more additional thoughts, but yeah, I mean they're heading to the heading to the dragon area, and I just see that there could be a lot more of that. But then at the same time, I mean, there's a lot of the other houses, a lot of the other stuff. I mean, that you don't know the full scale of things. You know, these people are come from these groups, and you know a little bit about them. But what else is out there? And that's what they're probably going to pull in to have that 700 page book. It's not just going to be just going to be about the dragons.
And I definitely see Fen, who gave her the that token. That's going to be used in book 2. He was like, use this token. I forget where he said.
Yeah, to let him know how I'm in trouble, or
yeah. If you were ever in this area, use this token, and they'll help you, kind of thing. But I forget the name of the area.
Right, and those characters that will be involved for probably whoever gets pulled into helping.
Yeah.
So.
What's the title called again? So for the second one, Fox and what?
The Fox in Winter, I think it was.
Okay. All right. Well, what does the fox say? We'll find out in book 2. There's my dad joke. I got it out.
Now you got that stuck in my head. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, Ryan, you have a good rest of your night, and we will talk to you next month.
All right. Talk to you later.
Book feast.
Bye.
Well, we kept this 600-page book that was loaded with everything at right around 2 hours. So I'm proud of us.
I am proud of us too. Like I said, it probably would have gone more than 5 hours if we went chapter by chapter.
We did good because we didn't go over complicated. We kept to the thing. Shout out to Ryan. As always, we'd love to have more of you on here. T, give us your thoughts in the Discord. I know how you are about coming on screen, but we would love to have your thoughts as well on the Discord. And
Discord down below.
Discord down below. I know we got a couple other of people chiming in about that. So just feel free to leave your comments about this if you're able to read it. We'd love to have at least your insight on it, even if you don't jump on here, but we still would love to have you on here as well.
Yeah. And as we said, Discord link down below. We'd love to have you be part of our community. It's not just book club, it's so much more. We do hangouts. You get to participate in bracket bitches with us. You get to we have a lot of fun together. And then if we're ever in the same city, we might hang out.
Yeah.
So me and Ryan and I hung out in Seattle at the Seattle Fan Fest for the World Cup. Like,
if there was a map of the U.S., so we'll be able to get the bottom right and the top left, as far as the tax are concerned.
Yeah, if you don't include Alaska,
right? No. Alaska, you know how it screws up the education system when they put a Hawaii.
Yeah, it's actually
yeah, that's where they're located. Don't worry.
They're located next to Mexico.
Yeah, they're located next to Mexico, right below California.
Yes, of course. How can I forget?
Yeah, come on, so you know where they're actually located.
Yeah, let me look at the map.
Yeah, they're left of the U.S. It's not the fact that Hawaii's 3,000 miles left. If you look at the map.
Well, anyways. Thank you, Josh. Thank you to Ryan. Thank you to everyone in our Discord. We love you guys. We will see you next month to do the book thief. Let me actually, because I have it right here.
Yeah, so we got preview the cover. There it is. And she read a moment, a little bit of snippet of it, and I was like, I'm in. So
yes, like 2 years ago,
we
were doing a hangout, and I read the first chapter to Josh and Tushka, and they were like, that sounds really freaking good.
Yeah,
so
it grabbed me.
We're finally gonna read it.
We're finally gonna read it or listen to it. Now this one I can listen to for sure. So.
And this will be a reread for me. So I have read this one before, but it'll be Josh's first time.
Pretty much with every book, except for The Watchmen. The Watchmen was the only reread I've done on our show. That was the one I was like, we need to reread The Watchmen. I want to go back. And guess what? Watchmen's still amazing.
Still good. Still some good shit. Well, anyways, like I said, thank you, Josh. Thank you, everyone. And we shall see you next time.
See you.